Apex in the Missoula office of our Apex accelerators here across the state. And with me is Josie Eads. She's with the Lewistown up Snowy Mountain area, Snowy Mountain Development Company or Corporation up in Lewistown. Today we are going to be recording this event, and we will get it on our YouTube channel within the next day or so, and we will also be sending out the slides afterwards. We're going to get started today, and I just welcome everyone for coming. If you have questions, you can either type them in the chat, or we'll just have plenty of time at the end to answer questions as well. So thanks for being here. Today, we're going to talk about a high-level overview of ways to market and sell your product or service to the federal, state, and local government. We're going to talk about some of the steps you can take and also help you understand the different ways the government buys what you sell. This is our rough agenda here on the first slide. We talk about how to kind of do the next steps. We assume in this slideshow that most people are already registered in the system for award management. And so some of these things would be what you do after you're ready to do some, to find opportunities and do some contracting with the government. So one of the things to remember is that selling to the government is somewhat different than selling to the commercial market. It does take a lot of tenacity. And that is what's important to know, is that it may not be as straightforward and as streamlined as if you were selling on the commercial market. But some of the tools and some of the ways that you find opportunities will be similar, like networking opportunities and also doing outreach to the potential customer. We have our 6 centers around the state. You can tell by this color-coded map of Montana how to find us. If you go to our website, montanaapex.org, you will be able to find.
Georgine, please.
Yeah, this is her.
Hey, Georgine, it's Miley from the pediatric special.
Hang on just a second. So when you go to this website, you'll be able to find the Apex counselor near you who can help you. We have, we all support different regions and are happy to provide you with support with your specific work and questions. We do provide a wide range of services. Many of you might have started out knowing us because you needed help with SAM, or you had just some initial questions and learning about how to work with the federal, state, or local government. But we do teach how to do the market research, how to identify opportunities, understanding what compliance and rules go along with government contracting. We also help you get registered in other vendor registrations besides SAM, such as with the state of Montana or some other opportunities like that. We can help you with reviewing a solicitation and reviewing your bid proposal so that you can be a successful and responsive participant and make great offers. We spend time to help you understand all the steps to government contracting. And even once you win an award, we help with work on post-award support. So we have kind of a general outline of how we see the life cycle of contracting. We call it the 6-step gateway to success. So first, you would register your business. So you want to be able to make bids and offers to the government customer, but you have to probably do some pre-work first, getting registered. Then you want to do some evaluation steps, evaluate what your offerings are and how the government buys what you sell, and do some planning around that. Then you may do some more preparing, and as you build your marketing plan, and then go after those opportunities and become successful in achieving some. So there are many areas where you might want to register. The primary one might be sam.gov for federal contracting, or the state of Montana EMAX system. There are other places to register as well, depending on what product you offer. The next step we call evaluate. So you want to understand, is this a good path and a good marketing plan for your company? You want to understand how the different agencies and which agencies might buy what you sell, and what is the cost range, and how do you do the market research to understand all that? Also, you want to be prepared to communicate with the potential new customer. So you might need, we always recommend for any contracting is you develop a capability statement, that you kind of have a good government focused sales pitch. And then if you're eligible for certain small business programs, get certified in those programs. Those are all helpful steps that can keep you moving forward in the process. When you want to understand how the government buys what you sell, so you can target the correct government agencies and also prime contractors where there might be subcontracting opportunities. And when you pursue opportunities, you want to make sure that you understand the different ways and the different paths that you can use to sell your product to the government. There's not just one boilerplate plan for all of government contracting. And so you want to understand, how has the government bought what you sell in the past, and then understand the cost elements, and where to find those opportunities and where you fit in the market. When you're ready to bid and you're ready to move forward to that next step, you want to be understanding kind of what's involved with the contract. What are the basic rules? What do you have to provide for follow-up or reporting on your agreement or contract with a government agency? So you can take action and work on all these areas with your Apex advisor that supports your area. And, some of the basic first steps is maybe to complete your SBA profile. This profile used to be connected to the SAM registration in one step, but it's at a different website now. So if you're not sure if you completed your SBA profile when you first registered in SAM, we can show you how to do that. A capability statement and other vendor registrations might be helpful. There are some, if you do certain types of work, you can register your capabilities at FEMA and with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and on the Fed Connect website. These are all just different portals where information is collected by vendors. And, you'll be able to work on those different registrations, and your Apex counselor can provide guidance. It also, if you have the capabilities to do subcontracting for a large prime, you may want to explore how to register and find the large primes that match what you do. And there is going to be there is a big project coming up there. Northrop Grumman is the prime. And Josie, do you want to just explain what that is real quick? I never verbalized that one very well.
Yeah, so the overall project is called the Sentinel. That's how most people hear it, or just the missile silo upgrade. And it is happening in 3 different states. I think Patty said where. But so here in Montana, we're on deck for the second portion of the project, so we'll probably see it in 2025 at the earliest. But in our area, we're trying to spread the word, and like Patty said, a capability statement is super important to have. You can email that to the Northrop Grumman contact that we have, Tracy German, and each advisor has her contact information, so feel free to reach out to them. And then, yeah, so it's just a project where they need basically everybody's services. Their trenching lines, their widening roads, fencing. So if you have any of those services, reach out to us and we'll get you connected.
Thanks, Josie. I appreciate you hopping on there. The other places you might want to register, depending on your product or service, is you might want to just see how other states, besides the states and cities and the state of Montana, and then the cities and counties in Montana, buy what you sell. You might want to explore if your product, you know, depending on what it is, maybe it's something you want to look at multiple states to target to sell your product or service. Evaluate. It's important to just kind of take a moment to sit back and understand what is it that you provide and how do you provide it and what makes you the solution provider, what differentiates your company. So you need to understand your capabilities, how you can be a solution provider, and that takes research on knowing what your customer needs are. And those needs would be, what is the agent, you know, you may target an agency, you may think, oh, my product's great for the Forest Service. Well, you want to understand the Forest Service's mission, how they buy things, what they buy, and like how often do they buy it, and how could you do outreach depending on the price range of your product. Those kinds of outreach processes might be different if your product is less than $25,000 or over $25,000. You can also take some time at the beginning of your journey, and you're developing your marketing plan, to develop the capability statement. Make sure you have business cards. You might need those in person. You know, a lot of communications are done online and through email right now, but it's still good to have some marketing tools available. It's also helpful to very succinctly be able to tell what you do and what your company provides. So that marketing or capability pitch, sometimes they call it the 30-second elevator pitch. It's a basic tenet of marketing your product. But if you want to reach out or do outreach to government buyers or government agencies, you want to be the one to be able to talk to them very succinctly so that you can get your message across. Also, you know, you would need all these kind of tools if you were ever going to attend like a matchmaking event, whether virtual or in person. I know that many agencies, and, you know, Maelstrom Air Force Base has different industry days in our area. There other agencies may have virtual industry days. Those are all great ways to kind of get to know how the government buys what you sell. One of the websites so we talked earlier about the SBA profile. So the SBA profile, when you create it, it updates the information at the website, the SBA's Dynamic Small Business Search. And this is a place when you're updating your profile, you can add keywords and a brief capabilities narrative, like about a paragraph. And you can talk about past performance or references for your company at that website as well. And those are all just embedded with your information. The SBA profile is automatically created when you register in the System for Award Management or SAM.gov. But the actual profile you have to flesh out by going to the SBA's website, connectsba.gov. And we have guidance, and we can provide you with emailed guidance or sit with you side by side. If you want help update profile, just get in touch with your Apex counselor and they'll set up a time and send you some resources on how to do that. I'm gonna have a little sip here. Sometimes when you're new to government contracting, it might feel a little bit overwhelming, and there's a lot of things and moving pieces and stuff to learn. And yeah, yes, that's Apex is here to help you learn all those things. But the other thing to know is that you want to be able to start small. And I think there are some really good ways that you can start small. And as you get more experience under your belt, then you would be able to move on to doing maybe some larger projects or trying out some different things. So to find smaller opportunities, there's a couple of things that we recommend. One is to subcontract with someone who already has a federal, state, or local government contract. And then also you could try working for some other areas, like you could do work for the state of Montana or this, nearby states if your product can go in those states. This top link here, and of course you're all going to have the slides after this meeting. The top link here is the listing of all the state procurement websites. It's a professional development website for state procurement professionals, but it does have a listing of the main websites for all the states. And then not every city and county in Montana, because that would, we have 53 counties or something like that. I can't remember. But most of the main counties and cities, and metropolitan areas do have online websites that talk about upcoming opportunities and the process for bidding. And those are pretty easy to find. One of the best search criteria I use is just say Billings, Montana space and the word procurement. Then you'll get to these websites. If you use Missoula County, then the word procurement, it usually may take a few clicks to get there, but those are really good ways to search for these city and county websites. One of the things I like to talk about too is think about what agencies are in our area. That is one way to start small. If you have let's say a lot of times we might think of the Park Service or the Forest Service as being a popular agency for federal contracting. And I really like this website, and I'm hoping when we go there, you can see what I mean by it. It may just take me a minute to change my share here. Right. So, can you see that now, the website? Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so the Forest Service, everything that's a larger opportunity that has to be published in a public place, and that public place is sam.gov. Those are opportunities over 25,000, but sometimes there's projects less than 25,000. And our region 1 of the Forest Service has 3 contracting offices, the Idaho acquisition team, the East Side acquisition team, and the Intermountain Zone, which is here in Missoula, the acquisition team here. And so they have links here for things. So for example, if we click on this link that says current projects less than 25,000, you can see that there was something last summer they posted. You know, this isn't going to be the most like the hot topic, but it's going to show Flathead National Forest Holland Lake Sewer Plant needed a maintenance project, and it was anticipated to be under that 25,000. So they put a link here to the solicitation and information on how to provide a quote. And sometimes you'll see things like a picnic table or a campfire ring, those kind of things that might be something that your company could do. It's a small job. I've seen window replacements, roof replacements at remote areas. And so I think if you go through this to these links, you can see there's a couple more links on the bottom here that are from the different parts of Region 1 acquisition offices. If you go from Idaho all the way to the, then you'll see that, you know, they sometimes post things here, and it takes, you know, maybe 5 minutes once a week to come out here and see if there's anything of interest. So I'm going to switch back to the slideshow. So just give me a second. All right, so that we're going to keep moving on here. So we're going to talk about first we're going to talk about state of Montana purchasing thresholds, and we're going to go through this so you understand how government buys what you sell. So understanding what the price point is for your product will help you know where it fits in the market. So for small purchases of less than $5,000, you know, they can just issue a purchase order at the state of Montana. They are not required to do any competition, and they can also, you know, they may find the people just on the people who register through their EMAX system. We'll talk a little bit about that in a slide or two here. Then the limited solicitations are going to be in the range, depending on if it's a supply or service. You can see the different ranges, 5,000 to 25,000 for supplies and up to 50,000 for services. They have a more streamlined procedure, and the limited solicitation is they do have to get quotes from at least 3 vendors before determining if an award can be made. And all the solicitations for these are typically using the EMAX portal. That's the electronic bidding portal for the state of Montana procurement. Then there's a more formal solicitation. It might be called an invitation to bid or a request for proposal. Those also are carried out using the EMAX system, but they may have more parts and pieces to them. And they're for typically projects that the state anticipates are going to be in a higher dollar amount range. And sometimes you have to write technical proposals or provide additional information in order to make your proposal or bid document complete, but it's still done electronically through that proprietary that EMAX program. So for EMAX, we use this acronym often, but it stands for Electronic Montana Acquisition and Contracting System. And they have a great website at the state of Montana, and I'm going to try to run out there real quick and show you what we could see there. That's on the right. Okay. So when you go to the state of Montana Procurement Bureau, I think some of the highlights you're going to find under the vendor resources tab. You can click on here and learn how to register as a vendor in the EMAX system. And you do need to use commodity codes. And they provide a list of them here. You can see on the vendor side, it has the steps. Also, your Apex counselor can walk you through these steps on how to register. And you would be able to download. They have they have 4-digit commodity codes. That's how the state classifies their the products and services that they buy. And so when you use these, you would use them, you would have to add them to your profile when you register, then you'll from the state in order to be notified of opportunities. Also, under the vendor resource tabs is a list of the agency procurement contacts. So these are the buyers for each of these different state agencies. So if you perhaps did work, you're capable of doing work with the Department of Environmental Quality, you would see that Rebecca Gregg is the contracting officer and her contact information is here. So this is a really transparent and informational website, and I do encourage you to kind of explore the information. They also have a procurement forecast here, and they posted this one getting near the end of its window as they publish it every quarter. But it's just a spread, it's just basically a spreadsheet that talks about upcoming opportunities and when they might be coming due for during this quarter that they're in right now, when they anticipate they're going to do the buys. So then it helps you kind of see, oh, they're going to be buying you know, engineering services coming up that's going to open later on this year, something like that, that you can just see from the titles. So back to the show here. Okay. So are there any questions about the state contracting that anyone had pop up? Did you see anything, Josie? Okay. So federal procurement thresholds. So these thresholds are for federal contracts. And again, they're split into these dollar amounts. The micro purchase threshold is the government is not going to advertise these. They may just for a one-time purchase use even the purchase their credit card or what they call the government purchase card in order to buy a product or a service. Between 10,000 and 25,000, they use a simplified acquisition process. Occasionally they're posted locally, like the ones we saw there at the Forest Service website. And but they do need to get at least 2 vendors, a quote from 2 vendors to do things in this range. So for example, if the Forest Service has a bumper fall off their truck and they need to get it repaired, they can call 2 body shops in Missoula, let's say, if that's where the truck's located, get some pricing, and they do look for people who are already registered in SAM, because none of these purchasing thresholds preclude the requirement for SAM. So they look for people in SAM that, and then they might call or ask to get a quote through email or something like that. Then they pick one that's the best value for the government. When you have opportunities that are over the $25,000 range, they also will use a simplified acquisition process or procedures. But they are always going to be advertised at sam.gov, and sam.gov contract opportunities is where you find those. You know, many of you have been to sam.gov and you understand that that's where you register your entity, but sam.gov is one website with 7 domains. And the other main domain of interest is going to be the one for contract opportunities. It's where everything is posted that by law, if it's over 25,000, it has to be posted in a public place. So that's notices of opportunities. When there's an opportunity greater than 250,000, again, that's going to be advertised or posted at sam.gov. And The one, everything over 250,000 is open to both, large and small businesses. But ones under 250,000 are typically set aside for, small business only. Excuse me. So we're gonna keep moving on here. I mean, I like to talk about the small business set asides because there's an advantage if you're eligible of these SBA set aside, the SBA manages the set aside program for service disabled veteran owned business, woman owned business, and the hub zone business. These are certification programs that you can apply for should you meet the eligibility requirement. They all have a few different eligibility requirements. Mostly you have to be the majority owner of the company, the person that's in the socioeconomic category, such as the woman. They have to have the majority ownership, but they also have to be able to prove the control and running of that business. So there's very specific rules for each of these, and your Apex counselor can help you prep to do the certification process and also help you understand if it's a good fit for your business and if you're gonna, if you are eligible. Now we're getting into some areas where you might want to do some, to learn about how to do the research to understand how the government buys what you sell or see some history of spending. A lot of times you can search for information about competitors that you may know have held government contracts in the past, and you can do that basically on two different websites. I think I'm going to take a quick look at USA spending here and just kind of show you the filtering briefly. Again, if you want to do data research, your Apex counselor can help you kind of understand how to use these different websites to kind of identify how an agency or has bought certain products in the past, how much spending that they do, and so on. So I think we have time, so I'm going to go ahead and just quickly go back out to my browser. And we're going to go over here to USA spending. So at USA spending, you have all these filters on the left side. So you can look things up only, by the government fiscal year. You can look up the type of award. So USA spending tracks every dollar that the government spends. So you'll want to narrow this list if you're looking for contracts. So contracts, IDVs, which stands for indefinite delivery vehicles. And then once you narrow that, and we can also choose, let's just choose I'm just going to choose one fiscal year there. Then you could also look up by an agency. You can look up by the recipient. If you know their SAM UEI, you can type it in here and you can kind of see what projects and what agencies your competitor has worked on for the government and kind of understand maybe the cycle. If you look things up by the agency, you can see when, sometimes the government uses a longer term, maybe if a longer term IDIQ contract. And so if that's the case, you can see when you can kind of see the history in here. If I choose some search and do the search, it's going to take a long time to load. So I'm not going to actually do the search. I just want to show you the different ways that you can filter. Then you can come out here and explore. So let's say you sell, you're in the construction. construction codes that, the government uses NAICS codes or North American Classification System codes. They start with the construction codes start with the 23, and you can either use a narrow search using a partial number here or just search by all of them. So if we did that, I'll tell you, it would take a little bit for it to load, but then you can always save a link to your on this website. It's a really pretty nice feature that when you create a search through the filters, and save a link that filter later while it takes time to run. And then once you decide all the different areas you want to search on, then you would use a submit search, and then it pulls up the opportunities that you searched by. And again, we can walk you through how this website works and how to also use the federal procurement data system. Website, which is similar. It shows all the awards that are made by federal contracts, and that those award records are sometimes helpful to kind of see and track opportunities and ways that the government buys what you sell by looking at awards that others have been awarded. So today, we talked about sam.govs. SAM is one website, has multiple domains. But the contract opportunities area of SAM is where you're going to find opportunities that are over $25,000. And there's different types of notifications that are saved there, and they have their own filtering. So I'm gonna go back out here and we're gonna watch a short video. We'll see how it goes. If I get it to work this time, it didn't quite work the last slideshow. So hold on just a minute. Okay.
In this video, you will see how to search on sam.gov, how to use keywords, and how to filter. First, sign in. While you can search and view some things without signing in, many helpful functions, like saving searches or following an item, require you to be signed in to your account. From the home page, there are 3 ways to begin your search. You can select Search in the menu bar. You can select the type of data you want to search. We call these domains. Or you can use the search bar located below the domain links. Selecting the search link in the menu bar will take you to this search page. Here, you can start a search by entering a keyword, a number, or activating a filter. Note that when you select the search link from the menu, the search page will be set to all domains. If you enter a keyword or activate a filter when all domains is selected, your search results can include any type of record from sam.gov, such as a contract notice, an entity, a hierarchy organization, or so forth. If you only want to see information from one domain, say contract opportunities, select the domain box and choose the domain that you would like to search. If you search using keywords, you can choose how the search will use them. Select any words, all words, or the exact phrase option to widen, limit, or specifically define your search. The Any Words option works like an OR search operator. The search will return results with one, some, or all of the keywords. This option will return the most search results. The All Words option works like an AND search operator. All of the keywords must be present to get a search result. The exact phrase option will search for the specific terms or phrases you enter into the keyword box. Each exact phrase and keyword must be present in the search results. The exact phrase option will narrow your search results the most. Another way to start a search is to select a domain link from the home page. Domain links take you to what we call a domain landing page. Here, on the Contract Opportunities landing page, for example, you can access search and help resources about contract opportunities. The search bar on this landing page will search just contract opportunities when you enter the keyword or a number to begin a search. Your search results will display alongside filters. You can use filters to narrow down your search results and add or modify the keywords in your search. The third way that you can start a search is by using the search bar available in the home page. Choose a domain, then enter a keyword or a number. Again, you can modify your search here by activating filters or changing your keywords. Note that entity registrations are not included in your search results unless you sign in to your SAM.gov account. Each domain has a different kind of data, so the filter panel on the search page will show different filters depending on which domain you choose. Filters help narrow your search results. They work like an AND operator with your other search options. So if you use keywords and select two filter values, your search results will contain the keywords as well as matching both of your filters. Now you know how to get started searching. Thank you for watching.
Okay. You have a link in the slideshow that shows this YouTube and all the and an advanced one, which is also really helpful YouTube video. The ones that are YouTube videos that we recommend are actually produced by the GSA or the General Services Administration. And they're the ones that, you know, when you go out to YouTube, you can find a million things. Everyone knows that, or may know that. But if we do recommend that you go to the actual ones that are produced by the government agency because they're going to be the most accurate. And then the other tip on finding, you know, getting the best results of using the search features of SAM is to log in when you do the searching, because when you log in, you do have more opportunities and you'll see more information, even though that it's open to the public. If you wanted to download an opportunity or read a document that's connected to it, then it's best to be logged in. You can also follow opportunities at sam.gov. So if you see something that's interesting, you can use the follow button in there and follow a certain opportunity. Another place that we're going to talk about is the Fed Connect. Fed Connect is a web portal that's used by some agencies. The list is here on the screen, to post opportunities and also to sometimes is used for bidding on certain opportunities. And this particular website, you do have a registration option for it. And if you do search in SAM for opportunities, sometimes it will and you find one for the Department of Energy, it's possible that it'll redirect you to Fed Connect. And so that might be a place where you might find some opportunities. We're going to talk about a little bit now about government-led innovation programs and basically what is government-led innovation. So they're open open programs for all types of innovators, such as individuals, small business, large business, entrepreneurs and startups, national labs and research and development consortiums, and also research institutions. And we talk about these because they may provide an opportunity for certain types of industry. There are a wide variety of programs and topics and paths to find out about government-led innovation programs, and it can, it can take time to find right depending on what product, innovative product, or you have an innovative idea, you might want to search. And on the next screen, we have a few examples, but you can also contact your Apex Accelerator and we can help you kind of do some screening and searching of what might be a good match for your company. But there's things as competitions, challenges, prizes, other transaction authorities, which are opportunities, often start with a white paper and may move to an opportunity outside of a regular federal contract. Broad area announcements is often how these are posted by different agencies. And broad area announcements can be posted on sam.gov and on the agency website. And then there's also different types of cooperative and technical assistance agreements that some agencies also participate in. We're going to just talk about a few because I think it doesn't apply to every type of business, but it is something to know about. The first place I want to talk about is challenge.gov. This is a hub for prize competitions. And sometimes they call this the platform of, to better for better good. Prizes and challenges in here can be funded and also unfunded. And I think that one thing to know is that not all opportunities to compete or to get involved with these government innovation programs include funding. But if you go to challenge.gov, you can explore some different things. They have all different kinds of opportunities. And then the other one that's probably many people have heard of, whoops, went too far. The Small Business and Innovation Research Program and the Small Business Technology Transfer Program. These are both programs of the SBA, and SBIR and STTR is a highly competitive program that encourages domestic small businesses to engage in federal research and development projects with the potential of commercialization. They have a multi-phase program. There's phase 1 and phase 2 that is if you can achieve through different steps, then you would have funding for those initial steps. But then stage 3 or phase 3, there would be probably some other paths that you would work on doing. There's also Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA. This website contains many technological development fundings and internet. So that it's connected to the Department of Defense often. And this particular website, or DARPAs, have helped create the internet and Apple Siri, according to what they say. I think that when you go to these websites, there's going to be a lot to explore. And so reading and kind of working with your Apex counselor to find out where you might fit. A CRADA, or Cooperative Research and Development Agreement, can be used. It's a formal written agreement between a federal lab and one or more non-federal parties. And so one of the examples here is for the Department of Interior. they talk about the tech transfer CRADA, and it's not just, CRADAs can be used for multiple different agencies, but it's really a connection to a federal lab to work on a certain, idea of project. The national laboratories, so they're always looking for development in areas related to energy and technology. And that's also a great place to explore. And then the Federal Laboratory Consortium, formerly chartered by the Federal Technology Transfer Act of 1968. Their organization is has a lot of member labs and institutions, and they have goals. There's a path through their program to learn more about innovative technologies and where you might fit. And so if you have if you want to get involved in government-led innovation programs, I want to just explain that it's a really broad topic, and it's probably a good idea to do some research and work with your Apex counselor to understand maybe where you might fit. It might not always be the exact right fit for your company, just depending on what your idea is and what the government needs. So a lot of these programs that are out there are based on a certain solution that the government wants. It's not like I'm gonna, make a new toaster, and my toaster is going to be the best toaster in the world, and I know everyone is going to want to buy it. A new invention that you may have may not be what the government solution needs. So just realize that as you go into thinking about working on some of these opportunities or researching them. Continuing now to talk a little bit about our services that we offer. So our Montana Apex provides a free bid matching services to our clients. It can be a helpful tool to have, particularly if your product exceeds the threshold requiring public solicitation. So, typically projects you work on are in that $25,000 and larger. So the bid match service, you would work with your advisor to create a profile. Then the profile's created, and it's based on keywords, and then those our client management software is the one that then develops that profile and uses those keywords to do daily searches on websites that have published information for opportunities. They create an email digest that then would be sent to you via email, and then it provides links to get to those opportunities that might be a good match for your company. It's called the My Bid Match service, and it's offered at no cost. Again, it might not be the 100% best thing if your product is in the lower dollar range, but it can be helpful for streamlining and understanding opportunities that are out there, because it does scrape multiple websites for data, including SAM and local and state government websites. One of the next things we'll talk about is about how to do outreach to the potential new customer. And so I think one of the things that businesses that are starting out in government contracting, they find that they're not sure exactly who to talk to or how to find out information. But there are different roles in government, and sometimes you might want to just do outreach to the small business specialists at a federal agency. And these offices are often called the Office of Small Business, or they sometimes have another longer name, Office of Small Disadvantaged Business Utilization, or OSDBU. I have found that if you want to find out the people for the agencies you're interested in targeting, is that you would use a shortcut Google search. and use the term OSDBU and then put a space and then put the name of the agency you want to search. So you can put the Forest Service, you can put Department of Homeland Security, and then you should get some accurate hits. You may have to drill down in those websites because the government does usually have a really, each agency usually has a pretty robust website for small businesses to connect to them. And then when you find those people, then you can use your capability statement or do outreach to those and find out how the government, how that agency buys what you sell. You might also, I mean, I think when you talk to the different people in government contracting, the contracting officer is not, they're the ones that put together the contracts and that they do the business of the government. And they are the, you know, the one that manages those agreements for the agency. And so you can find information about the contracting officers and do outreach to them. And then program managers, most federal agencies, when they're doing procurements, they have a team of people, and a program management manager is the expert on the requirement. They're the ones that say, we need to have this certain product or service performed, and these are the specifications of it. They're the ones that work with the contracting officers to put those solicitations or opportunities together and publish them. And they also work with a team at the agency to make sure that all the needs are met in that requirement. And then sometimes the end user is someone you might know, you know, especially in smaller communities, they might be your next door neighbor. But end users often, they don't really do the buying themselves, but they may be able to connect you, or you can work with them and tell them how you can help if if you hear that they need some special assistance, and then maybe that leads to some additional networking down the line. So I'll just touch briefly on the federal acquisition regulation. The federal acquisition regulation governs all procurement. It is the prescription to the contracting officer on how to write solicitations and what of the variables of the different laws and how they apply when they're put into a federal contract for procurement. And there's many parts to the FAR. And remember, it's a guide for the government. It's a government's guide, but it also has information that might be helpful to people who want to do work with the government. You might not find all the answers in one part of the FAR. So there are some different parts that might be helpful, kind of understanding, like part 19 about small business. I would say a majority of our Montana businesses are considered small based on the SBA size standards. And so part 19 talks about those small business programs, how small business are supposed to be engaged for contracting on opportunities that are less than $250,000 and so on. And then there's often lots of provisions and clauses in an agreement that you get with the federal government, and those are going to be all outlined in Part 52. And so the one thing is the Montana Apex Counselor can help demystify the FAR for you. And that's why we're here. So if you do run into a question, you're reviewing a solicitation, you don't understand a clause, provision, or reference that's in there, we are good at researching the FAR and helping demystify that for your company. So don't hesitate to reach out to us for help on these kinds of details. There's a lot of different types of contract types as well. You know, that's what makes this, that's one of the potential challenges of government contracting, is because you can find a lot of different types of contracts, different types of contracting. Firm fixed price is probably what the most common one that you might see for a request for quote. And then there's also cost plus fixed fee pricing. And these are all described in detail at the FAR if you wanted to understand more about them. But again, we're here to help answer those types of questions about the different contract path and why it's been chosen and what it really, how it applies to your offer. There are a few other contracting vehicles that are outside of just a typical solicitation or responding to a request for quote. The GSA schedule is an entry to government contracting, but it probably represents about 22 to 23% of federal purchases. If you sell a commodity or a common service, it might be a good fit with your company. The getting on the GSA schedule does take a lot of time and focus, and it can take quite a bit of maintenance after you're on there as well. So it is a negotiated, fully vetted solicitation that you apply for. And it's a best value type process. And so really, there are some key things to consider before taking a deep dive into GSA. The Unison Marketplace is a reverse auction site. When you think about eBay, you can kind of think, yes, this is one of those places where sometimes there's quick turnaround, and small businesses can sometimes find traction on this website, particularly if they sell a commodity product. And there are also services listed there. It does require, there's a fee built into the pricing structure at this website. And so if you had questions about this, you can explore this website, the Unison Marketplace website. It's pretty straightforward. Or you can contact us for help. So that's the end of our show. And I just wanted to see what kind of questions you might have. And I'm going to stop the sharing. I'm just trying to get to the right window to do that. Sorry. And if you, how can I answer any questions? Don't be shy. I'm happy to answer questions. Donna, looks like Donna sent a question through direct message. She said that the bid match gives us a very short window of response. Is there any way to set up a notification in SAM for a specific NAICS code? And the answer is yes. At sam.gov, you can create saved searches, and that is not too challenging to do. You go to sam.gov. Let's see if I can get there. Again, you do need to be logged in to do that. I'm going to try to log in really quick. Do you see any other questions, Josie, while I'm logging in?
Nope, I had some direct ones that I was able to answer. Let's see. Looks like I got one. How often do you recommend checking SAM for new items?
I didn't hear the last part of that.
Oh, sorry. Deb asked, how often do you recommend checking SAM for new items?
Oh, new opportunities to,
Yeah.
I think you should, check it at least once a week, because sometimes the opportunities in SAM, they only give you a couple of weeks to respond. So, it depends on the agency. There's, it can take a little bit of time to do the search, but if you do a safe search, at SAM, and let me just quickly try to share my screen, and I'll be logged into SAM here just real quick. I gotta get to the controls of the Zoom meeting, sorry. Because if you do a safe search, then SAM notifies you the search, based on the criteria you entered. And I'll show you an example of one I have saved. Excuse me. So here I'm logged into SAM. I'm in my workspace. Okay. I know it's me because it has my name on the top. I also have these area over here where I have my saved searches and opportunities that I follow. So I follow some opportunities because they might be, well, let's go with the safe search first while we have time. So safe search, we would, you would go to your, what you want to search first. And you're going to choose contract opportunities. And let's say you want to search, did Donna have a NAICS code that she wanted to search? Like, so you can search by federal organization, notice type. So on the notice types, you can do a sources sauce, pre-solicitation, a solicitation. You can search by the NAICS code. Let me just see if I can make one up for you. 2370. Let's say highway and street bridge construction. So now when I search, I'm searching all agencies. There's 236 results up here for that NAICS code only. But let's say I only want to do that in Montana. So I'm going to add the place of performance and see if Montana comes up. I'm going to type in the state Montana down here. And if we come up, now we see there's 6 results. So if I'm willing to work in Montana and I want, you could put different NAICS codes in, you could put multiples in. It might make it a little bit harder. I keep my safe searches like on one topic. So when I get it, I know, okay, that has, because I help a lot of different kinds of companies. So when I'm saving a search, it's usually to kind of see if things are popping up or, things that are happening in Montana are happening. Like, so I have some saved searches for the Forest Service, for fire contracting and things like that. So if you like this search and you like the results, you can add different kinds of search criteria in here. And I would fool around with that a little bit so that you can feel comfortable with how to go out here and search and use the different searching filters and so on. And then when you're happy with that, you can say, save it. So do you see, I use this action button up here. And this, I'm going to save it. Then it's going to have me give it a name, and I'm going to just call it highway construction MT, because that's what I'm going to call it. You can't really put a lot of characters or digitals, like make it complicated title. So just keep it simple. Then you go to your workspace and it's Monday morning and you're fresh from a nice weekend of sunshine like we had last weekend. And you're going to go to your workspace and you're going to go to your saved searches. And you might want to just go to your saved searches and run them. Or you can ask to have them notify you. So if I click on this, I have to tell it to notify me. So if I say notify, I can actually just choose it and it runs it. And it's going to run it anytime I click that hyperlink. But I can also ask it to notify me from my workspace. Any questions about that, Donna? Or anyone else?
There was two came in while you were doing that. One from Julian. She asked, can you talk about the cybersecurity requirements to do government contracting?
I can briefly talk about that. It's a pretty large subject. So the Department of Defense is going to, it depends on to whom you sell. What's your company, Julian?
General Distributing Company.
Yes.
Okay. So if you sell commercial items, so you just sell like commercial items to the government, is that correct?
Like welding equipment and supplies, safety supplies, stuff like that. I just, the reason why I'm asking is because I was on another Zoom meeting and they went into really in-depth detail about it and it was quite confusing. So I was just wondering if you would just touch on that a little bit.
We have one of those really in-depth webinars next Tuesday as well, and that is for the Department of Defense, CMMC, which stands for, oh, I'm terrible at acronyms. You think I'd be an expert after all the acronyms I've heard. Cybersecurity Maturity Model Certification. CMMC is going to be coming up as a requirement in all Department of Defense contracting solicitations, but it doesn't apply to every product and service. It only applies to certain covered materials. Okay. And it is a really big topic, and it would be something that our Apex counselor would be happy to meet with you on individually to see more about what you sell and see how that interacts with you. We do offer a couple of times every year event that is put on by Project Spectrum, and Project Spectrum is a contractor for the Department of Defense who's supposed to provide free information and help to businesses that are required to get started on a CMMC. Or this cybersecurity requirement for the Department of Defense. That Department of Defense rule, it was in place before 2017, and it's gone through a lot of changes over the years. It was re-announced in 2020, then it was put on pause again. Now it's still in the comments period, but they anticipate that the final rule for CMMC will be published pretty soon, and we'll start seeing them in agreements starting in 2025. But the CMMC is not the same for every type of product and service. So it doesn't apply to commercial items at all. And then there's a couple other cybersecurity requirements that are outside of CMMC that we can tell you about. I don't think I can quote those off the top of my head. But if you are concerned about that and you want to meet, you should meet with your Apex advisor, and we will help you with some good information on getting that figured out. Does that help, Julianne?
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
Sure.
And then we just have one last one in the chat. It says from Melissa, does the Forest Service put everything from their website on SAM, or do we need to check both websites?
So the only things on SAM that are going to be published are opportunities that are the value of over $25,000. That's the only thing that they're required to post. That's why that other little website is helpful if it's a smaller job, and it's a good way to kind of get some traction on some small projects in our local areas. And so that's why we offer that extra little website. And that's really nice that the Forest Service has that. Not every agency has a little project site that's for things under $25,000. A lot of times for those opportunities, you have to do regular marketing to the agency to understand if they have small jobs. Sometimes small jobs are posted locally, like at a local office. But that's why, it just takes a little bit of thinking and planning to understand how the government buys what you sell. Did that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else want to shout out or ask a question? You can unmute yourself and ask if you have anything.
So what you're saying is the contracting officer for like BLM or Forest Service can award to a small business projects under 25,000 without going out to bid or solicitation or anything like that?
No. So the way the threshold works is up to $10,000, the government can buy something using their credit card for a project without competition typically. If it's between $10,000 and $25,000, the government has to get two qualified companies to provide a quote. Then they can
Okay.
select the best value to the best value quote and pick that vendor. But they, on the federal contracting, they have to have at least two quotes to make that choice or decision. If it's for
So they have,
state
do they,
contracting, they have to have at least three. Depending
okay,
on,
so that amount is what that they can award without going out to bid?
if it's a one-off deal, yes. So the government may not buy, so the government could walk into Murdoch's and buy 10,000 or $9,999 worth of fencing today with their credit card. If they have
I
to
see.
buy that fencing every quarter or every other month, they have to put it out for competition because that's going to add up the total cost of what they're spending on that. They can't just arbitrarily break down the expenses of something in order to buy it quickly, unless it's a case of emergency or disaster. There are some different rules, and there's
Awesome.
a federal emergency. So up to $10,000, they can buy something by credit card. Between 10,000 and 25,000, they have to have at least two quotes to compare. They have to get competition between two. And then on federal contracting, everything over 25,000 has to be published in a public place, which is sam.gov contract opportunities, and it's open to all small business. As long as it's under 250,000, it's going to be open to small business. So that's what's at sam.gov, 25,000 and up.
Okay, so yeah, it wasn't really in regards to purchasing, it was in regards to like a small little project or something like, say, BLM needs a hole dug for a toilet. They don't have to send that out to bid because it's under a certain threshold.
That's right. If it's under 10,000.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I was thinking it was 25, but 10,000, okay, very good.
The thresholds have changed, and some agencies don't buy things all the way up to $10,000 using that practice. So if you hear something from a contracting officer that says it has to be this amount or that amount, it's probably based on a warrant, their buying capability. I can't really explain that for.
Awesome.
Any other questions for the curious?
No more in the chat.
Okay. Remember, you can find us and we'll answer your questions whenever you're ready and have them. Our Montana Apex is happy to be here to help you kind of continue your journey as you learn more about government contracting. And please be in touch if we can be of assistance and help you. And I want to thank Josie for helping me out today. And we will sign off unless there's anything else anyone needs. You want to stop the recording?